right there on top of the moon. We could sit and do nothing. I wish we were bold to just fly away.
I just want to show you there is something in the mug. All right, welcome. Welcome to the coffee table tutorial. That has been a long time in the making. Before we start, I want to say thank you, a really big thank you to my friend Sanelli on Instagram. She made this incredible coffee table for her living room. It is gorgeous. I actually wish mine looked more like that. I don't have all the tools that she does to like distress it in that way, but she was a huge help. She told me all the measurements and how she built it. Mine is essentially pretty much modeled after hers, except that I used dowels instead of brackets to connect my pieces of wood. But she is an amazing inspiration. She's really leaning into those like more moody, earthy tones these days, and I'm here for it and I really like it. So thank you, Sanelli, for all your help. You are a blessing. Also, I wanted to just address a couple things. I don't like long intros either, but just hang tight with me because this is important context for the rest of the video. I will be doing a full cost breakdown at the end of this video so that you know exactly how much I spent and then how much it is even with like tools that I had. I'm doing this because there are a lot of skeptics on social media who are saying like, she spent probably $500 on all the wood to make this table. I've spent 50 bucks for all the lumber that I used. I know lumber shortages look different in different areas right now, but I just want you to know I wouldn't spend more than the amount I'm trying to save. So this really did save me money, and this project really was like a very good budget-friendly option for me for the style of table that I wanted. I know there are tables within the $100 to $200 price range, but they just weren't the style that I wanted. This way I was able to customize it. I was able to make my own and learn something. Honestly, that was kind of what I wanted to do too. Which leads into my next point, which is that I'm not a professional. I think that goes without saying, but I'm not. I welcome constructive criticism and advice. The reason we changed the way we're gonna do the build is because I went to Home Depot and we met this really nice gentleman. He taught woodworking to kids for like 20 years, and he just ended up like telling us exactly how to build it and how he would do it. So I wanna say a big thank you to him. I forget his name right now. Oh. And then lastly, this is a DIY for DIYers. There are of course people who would not like to touch any type of tool. They don't wanna spend the time. I understand that. If that's you, this video probably is not going to be up your alley. DIY is for DIYers. It's for people who want to do it this way, not necessarily the easier route, not necessarily even always the more budget-friendly route. For me it was, but sometimes we build things and they're not necessarily cheaper. If you like to do something because you like to do it yourself, then I think DIYs make a lot of sense. So yeah, please enjoy this video. I filmed this voiceover style, but if you prefer a different style, if you think you would like for me to like walk you through different steps in front of the camera, or like vlog my progress, like whatever you want to see, let me know. I'm still trying to figure out like how to YouTube, but if you have recommendations, please let me know and we can like grow this together and decide how I should film and style things. Enjoy the video and thank you for watching.
All right, let's get started. So the first thing I'm doing is taking my wood pieces and just giving them a light sand. Sometimes when they're just cut, they are a little splintery, so just sanding them to make sure they're safe to work with while we build. And then I am basically taking my leg pieces and I am grouping them into 4 pairs, so 8 pieces each, 4 pairs of 2. And just make sure, because you're going to be gluing and screwing these together, so just make sure the sides you don't care about are facing each other and you have the more aesthetic sides on the outside. I'm just taking some regular glue, wood glue here, and I am attaching the pieces to each other and then using these 2.5-inch screws to reinforce it. And then the next step is going to be drawing out and making sure all your measurements are correct. I really recommend this just to make sure you don't make any errors as you go. For the table portion, I am marking out my dowel holes, and here are the dimensions for that and the spacings between each. And then I'm just taking a drill bit and making these dowel holes. I've never done this before. It was a really new process to me, but it's actually not too hard once you start going. It's pretty easy to get the hang of. So I'm just creating the holes here, measuring as I go, making sure my dowels fit at least half of the length of the dowel on each side. And then I marked the other side of the wood piece that it was going to be going into. I matched these the best that I could, and I got really lucky because I was just trying to be as precise as possible. It's hard sometimes to do this, but if you go slowly, you'll be able to match them up pretty well. And I am just making sure all the dowels fit here. I used some original Gorilla Glue to attach the dowels. I put some on the dowel itself, make sure it's a little bit damp for it to cure properly. Using Gorilla Glue here is great because it expands as it dries, so it's gonna fit that, it's gonna fill that dowel hole really well. For the legs, I did one hole on each side. This got a little bit tricky, but it is the most ideal option so that each part of the leg, each like separate piece of the leg has another piece to attach to it. So I just basically repeated the process here and made sure all my pieces lined up. And then I also made holes in the top of the legs because this is going to be the part that attaches to the table. So for the table, I just drilled pretty shallow holes. I didn't go too deep into it because the table is a little bit thinner, obviously, than the rest of the wood. So I maybe did 3/4 of the way into the legs and then 1/4 into the table. And then I'm just attaching it with the same glue, letting it dry overnight. And then I took this 1x3 as a final step. The carpenter that we met at Home Depot just recommended this to reinforce it, make it a little bit more stable. So I just cut it into pieces of 22 inches each and used some wood glue and some screws to attach it here. I did one on each side of the outside of the legs and then 2 on the underside in the middle, spaced out evenly. This is just some added stability, so it's not essential, but I do like just having it there. And then I basically tried to go in and distress the table, which was a little bit difficult. I distressed it a little bit and then I stained it very lightly with Early American and Simply White. So you could stop here if you like more of that unfinished wood look. I honestly didn't mind it that much, but I could feel it just didn't feel like a full finished furniture piece. So I revealed this on social media, just trying to get it done before the holidays. And then afterwards I came back and just kind of started again. I distressed the sides a lot more, chipped off a lot more pieces, used my jigsaw to like shave off pieces on the side, which I don't think I'm supposed to use my jigsaw for this. Probably not the best tool, but it's what I had. And then I also used my orbital sander to just give it a really good sanding this time because I didn't do that last time. So kind of starting over with the stain a little bit, I went in with Simply White and then over that with Early American. So just doing this combo, I tried to neutralize a little bit of that red color with the Simply White, and then go in with the Early American afterwards. And then I waited a few days before sealing it with a matte polyurethane. And here's the finished product. Okay, so here's the total cost breakdown. As I mentioned, I only spent under $50 for all the lumber pieces, and then I needed to purchase wood glue, dowel, screws, wood stain, and I'm also including the price of my sander and my drill set. And if you needed all of that stuff, it would be $266.39. And if you already had a drill and a sander, that would just be $117.42, making it a very budget-friendly project.
Last thing thing I want to say before we wrap up here is I'm not 100% happy with the table, honestly. And I mentioned my friend Sonali's table. Hers was really gorgeous, and I wish mine had more of that rusticity to it. Douglas fir also runs really red, so earlier on I should have gotten more of a gray undertone stain, which I'm still thinking about. I might eventually just sand it down and kind of start over with the stain process again. It does have more of a finished look now because I sealed it with polyurethane, and that's something I hadn't done before I posted it on social media. So it's not perfect, and I just want to be honest about that because not every DIY comes out exactly the way you envisioned. I've definitely had DIYs before where I'm like, that's exactly how I wanted it to look, but there's other times where it doesn't, and other times where the process is longer. So just anticipate that, plan, go slowly, move at a pace that's comfortable and also allows you to have time to think through all the decisions you're making. Thank you so much for watching this video, my second YouTube video. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer, and thank you for being here. Always. Bye.